probate sale, real estate investors, and your real estate team. That's our topic today. We'll get started right after this. Probate can be a very stressful time for a family after someone has passed away, and dealing with the financial aftermath can be very overwhelming also. One of the many questions that arises is what to do with the house. If you plan to sell the house and you don't want to deal with a long, drawn-out situation, you may be thinking of selling directly to a real estate investor. It's important before you make that move that you know that here in San Diego, California, my team and I are certified probate real estate advisors, and we can help you to determine if selling directly to an investor or going in another direction may be your better option. Because if you're involved in a probate and you are in the process of being appointed, or perhaps you've already been appointed as the executor or the administrator by the San Diego Probate Court, you are aware that investors are clamoring to buy inherited property in San Diego. When you work with a team, a certified probate real estate advisor team, you're going to quickly recognize that they have the ability, the skills, the knowledge to make things easier for you. One of the benefits of having a team that knows what to do in almost all cases with probate is that you will avoid the long, drawn-out process potentially of finding a buyer that can actually purchase the home. You don't want to be waiting for that perfect buyer to appear by just the public information of the fact that there's a probate and that they're calling you and mailing you and basically making your life a little bit more difficult because they want to consider purchasing your loved one's home in probate. Now, you can sell a house as is with no repairs, no renovations, and basically no preparation. The whole process is to get to the point where you are relieved about the house in probate. You're relieved quickly and the funds are available to pay debts, including any kind of tax burden from your loved one. So what is a probate in California? Probate is the legal proceeding to distribute certain types of property owned by someone who died, and before distributing, settling any claims or debts, any kind of expenses that need to be taken care of, including taxes, making sure all those things are properly paid prior to distributing what is left of the proceeds to the specific beneficiaries. These would be the beneficiaries that are entitled to the remaining proceeds under the decedent's will and under California's laws and regulations. Probate property is property that is titled in the decedent's name alone. It is distributed under the decedent's will according to the probate laws. A probate proceeding typically occurs in the county and the probate court in that county of where the decedent lived. If the decedent also owned real estate in another state, additional proceedings may be necessary. I'm going to tell you a quick story about Mike that I just helped sell a 3-unit property here in San Diego. It was an investment property of his brother's who passed away. Mike contacted me because he had no idea how to handle this. We actually never met in person, but we did meet over the phone and via a Zoom conference. Mike chose for my team and me to help him through the process of preparing, marketing, and selling his brother's 3-unit property, which we actually sold with the current tenants in the property. So we got that all done here in San Diego for him, and he was relieved of that burden. But he also had a property that his brother actually lived in Oregon, and I just spoke with Mike a few days ago, and he let me know that that probate had also been completed. He had not yet sold the home of his brother. He was trying to decide if he wanted to keep it or to sell it, but the probate attorney in Oregon did complete the probate for him, and now Mike owns that home in Oregon. So when making plans to sell, you are faced with many big decisions. You'll be wondering, do I sell directly to an investor? Or do I hire a local real estate company that has the skills and the abilities and the knowledge to get me through the probate process? So you're wondering, do you sell directly to an investor, or do you hire someone to guide you through that process and put the property on the open market for all buyers to be aware of? Let's talk about both of these paths and how to choose the right option for you and for the estate. So there are benefits to selling the inherited property for cash. If you need to sell the house fast for some reason, you may want to consider a cash investor. But you may think that you don't have enough time to put the property on the open market, and that may be incorrect. You may think it'd be difficult to find and interview real estate professionals to get the house listed, get it on the open market. You may think this takes a lot of time, but theoretically, it doesn't need to be a lot of time or energy on your part. And you may also think that you're going to have to do repairs or renovations, which is not necessarily the case. A cash sale does allow you to sell the house fast, and it gets you the cash into the estate account quickly so that you can start on the next process of completing the actual probate with your probate attorney. But like I said, there are benefits to taking an extra 3 to 5 days perhaps to find a certified probate real estate advisor and put the probate listing on the open market so that the house in probate can be exposed to the open market. And even when it's exposed to the open market, within 3 days, you can have multiple offers that are being negotiated to get a better price and a more secure sale with someone that is an expert real estate person that can make sure that the investor that you're agreeing to sell the house to will actually be the investor that buys it and won't drag you along for a couple weeks and then change their mind. And then you have to start all over again. Not the best situation for you. Now, the other way is you can sell the house within 30 days or so, because in a traditional sale, it can take some weeks to prepare the house properly, to list the house, to prepare for showings, find the right buyer or buyers, to negotiate offers, and to eventually close the sale. If you don't have that kind of time, for some reason, a cash sale will provide a more efficient process if done correctly. With a cash sale, you can close it within 10 days, and then the probate listing proceeds can be in the estate account the next business day. My team and I, we simplify this whole process for you. We simplify the process of selling a house in probate. Now keep in mind that selling a house in probate can become complicated. There are specific documents that you want to make sure are completed properly so that you and the estate are protected. You'll want to make sure that you coordinate with the probate attorney. That's something that a certified probate real estate advisor will know how to communicate with the attorney. Make sure that we adhere to timelines, because there are specific timelines that need to be adhered to in order to make the sale of the property go smoothly. And this type of stuff can be overwhelming for an executor or administrator involved in a San Diego County probate. This might be a good time to tell you who I am. I'm Kim Ward. I am a certified probate real estate advisor here in San Diego, California. My team and I help with homes in probate and trust administrations, and we've been doing this since 2004. What's the difference between an investor and a traditional buyer? Perhaps the biggest difference between an investor and a traditional buyer is their intentions on what they're going to do with the house. In the case of a traditional buyer, they're going to make that house their home. So they have a lot more invested in getting the property for their family to live in. Investors, on the other hand, are thinking of it as a product. They're going to go in and fix the property up to a point where a traditional buyer will purchase it for more than what they paid for it. Some investors may actually be looking to keep the property and rent it out, especially there's some new laws coming up in California that may cause investors to have to keep the property for a period of time in order to avoid a huge tax consequence. So investors are interested in profit. They're interested in getting the house in probate for as little as possible, and then making as much as possible by either renting it or selling it. So we'll finish this up by just talking about selling a property in San Diego to an investor in 2022. The drawbacks are that because investors are going to factor in all the costs of repairing and renovating a property and then the cost of selling it again, as well as the overhead that they're carrying the property for a few months while they're doing the repairs, it's important that executors and administrators know that a house in probate that they sell to an investor, they will not get the most money for the estate. And those investors' offers are often, almost always, much lower than a traditional buyer. So that said, being really aware of investors and that they have fewer licensing requirements, and the industry can have some scammers. I've been involved, unfortunately, with some situations where investors were a little unethical, well, a lot unethical. So it's important that you be aware of that also, because some of these people, they are wanting to take advantage of distressed sellers. Not all of them, but some of them. The benefits of selling to an investor, of course, is they're going to buy the house as is in most cases. I have had situations where an investor offered X amount of dollars on a property, and then for whatever reason they had not viewed it prior to negotiating and getting the property under contract. Then they go in and they view it and they say, oh no, we just can't do this at this price. We want to drop the price $50,000. I've had situations that have come up like that. So I have a way of making sure that they did see the house, because I do not allow what I call blind offers to come to my seller and say, you know, here's this offer, and I don't know that the investor has been inside of the house. So I'm really careful, since that one time that this did happen, that I don't have that situation happen again for my sellers. Bottom line is, I recommend that when you become responsible for a home in probate or trust administration, that you take a little bit of time to talk with real estate professionals that know how to handle properties that are in estates, that have a track record. If you hire a certified probate real estate advisor, you can feel comfortable that they know what they're doing. And also talk to them about potential cost-effective repairs that will move the home from an investor special to a traditional buyer. I do this all the time for my clients, and typically get the estate 5 times or more on what they invest into the property to bring it up to a certain level for traditional buyers. So before considering selling directly to a real estate investor without any representation for you and the estate, because you want to avoid putting yourself into a situation, and you want to avoid putting the probate into a situation where there is tremendous liability. I hope you found this of value. Please like, subscribe, hit that bell button, make a comment down below, and I look forward to sharing more with you next week.